The theater lights dim, and a low murmur rolls through the audience as the announcer calls the next act. From the side of the stage, a man steps forward, slow, measured, and composed. He is wearing a Filipino army uniform, neatly pressed, medals catching the light as he walks toward the center. The crowd notices immediately. Whispers ripple through the seats. This is not a typical audition. He stops at the microphone and stands at attention for a brief moment, as if awaiting an unseen command. Then he relaxes, but his posture remains disciplined. Simon Cowell leans forward, curiosity written plainly on his face. "What's your name?" Simon asks. "My name is Staff Sergeant Daniel Reyes," the man replies, his voice calm but heavy, like it's carrying years of unspoken. A soft piano melody drifts through the theater, barely louder than a whisper. The lights dim further, wrapping the stage in a pale blue glow. Daniel stands motionless at the microphone, eyes still closed, chest rising and falling as if he's steadying himself before a long march. From the judges' table, the uncertainty is visible. Simon tilts his head slightly, arms crossed. He has seen emotional backstories before, hundreds of them. Some deliver, many don't. His expression says it clearly. The story is powerful, but the voice has to be real. One of the judges glances at Simon, then back at Daniel. "I hope he can sing," she whispers under her breath, barely audible but caught by the nearby mic. A few audience members shift in their seats, unsure what to expect. The uniform, the medals, the silence, it's all heavy. The pressure is immense. Daniel finally opens his eyes. They are glassy, but focused. He lifts the microphone closer, his hand shaking just enough to betray his nerves. The first note comes out quiet, almost too quiet. A fragile sound, thin and trembling, floats into the air. Simon's eyebrows rise. Not impressed. Not disappointed. Just waiting. Daniel swallows and tries again. This time, the note is steadier. His voice carries a raw texture, unpolished but honest. It doesn't sound trained, it sounds lived in. Each breath seems deliberate, like he's choosing courage over fear with every word. The audience leans forward now. A few people exchange surprised looks. This isn't what they expected. Daniel's shoulders relax slightly as the melody continues. The doubt in the room hasn't disappeared, but it's changing shape, turning into curiosity. The judges sit straighter. Simon uncrosses his arms, his eyes locked on the stage. The song is only just beginning, but something has shifted. This is no longer about whether the soldier can sing. It's about what he's about to reveal. The music builds slowly, adding strings beneath the piano, like a heartbeat growing stronger with each measure. Daniel's voice follows, rising in volume and depth. What began as a careful whisper now fills the theater with unexpected power. His accent colors the words, giving them a distinct warmth. Every lyric sounds personal, lived through rather than learned. Then it happens. On a line about coming home to an empty doorway, his voice cracks. Not a mistake, an emotional break. He turns his head slightly, trying to regain control, but the damage is already. The final note hangs in the air, trembling like it doesn't want to leave. Daniel lowers the microphone slowly, his head bowed, chest heaving as he fights to stay composed. For a brief, impossible moment, there is no sound, no applause, no cheers, no movement at all. The silence is heavier than the music ever was. Then someone in the audience stands. Another follows. Then another. Within seconds, the entire theater rises to its feet. Applause erupts, thunderous and overwhelming, mixed with cheers and cries of "bravo" and "thank you." Daniel looks up, stunned, his eyes wide as if he doesn't quite understand what's happening. His disciplined posture finally breaks. His shoulders slump, and emotion floods his face. At the judges' table, one judge is already standing, clapping through tears. She shakes her head, speechless. Another judge presses the golden buzzer instinctively, but stops, realizing this moment doesn't need it. All eyes turn to Simon. He remains seated for half a second longer, staring at Daniel with an expression no one sees often, pure awe. Then Simon stands. The crowd's cheers double in volume. Simon walks around the desk, straight onto the stage, something he almost never does. Daniel snaps into a reflexive half-salute, then freezes, unsure. Simon gently shakes his head and pulls him into a hug. The gesture is simple, human, and completely unexpected. Daniel's composure finally breaks. He presses his forehead against Simon's shoulder, tears streaming freely. One by one, the other judges join them on stage. No words. Just arms around a man who carried too much alone for too long. The applause doesn't stop. Cameras capture the moment from every angle, judges, soldier, audience, all connected by something deeper than music. This is no longer a competition. It's a shared acknowledgement of sacrifice, pain, and courage. And everyone knows, they have just witnessed something rare. The applause slowly fades, though the energy in the theater remains electric. Daniel wipes his face with the back of his hand, still standing center stage, surrounded by the judges. His uniform is no longer just a symbol of discipline, it now carries visible emotion, human and raw. The crowd settles, but many are still standing, unwilling to sit too quickly, as if afraid the moment might disappear. Simon returns to the judges' table and takes a deep breath before speaking. His voice is softer than usual. I've heard thousands of singers on this stage, he begins. Perfect voices. Trained voices. But what you just did, he pauses, choosing his words carefully. That wasn't a performance. That was your life. Daniel nods, unable to speak. Another judge leans forward. You didn't come here to impress us, she says. You came here to tell the truth. And that takes more courage than any note ever could. The audience applauds again, quieter this time, respectful. Simon looks directly at Daniel. People will remember this audition, he says firmly. Not because of how high you sang, but because of how real you were. A golden light washes over the stage as the show's signature music swells. Confetti drifts down, slow and shimmering. Daniel looks up, almost in disbelief, as if the moment belongs to someone else. Tears return, but now they're mixed with relief. The host steps beside him and asks how he feels. Daniel takes a moment. For the first time, he says, voice shaking, I feel heard. The crowd erupts one last time, chanting his name. The judges stand again. Cameras zoom in on Daniel's face, no longer just a soldier, not just a singer, but a symbol of sacrifice and hope. As the lights fade and the scene cuts to black, one thing is clear. This wasn't just an audition. It was a moment the world will carry with it long after the music ends.